My name is Robert Kowalski, and I am the founder and president of Veterans Ending the Stigma. Veterans Ending the Stigma is a nonprofit organization that focuses on the use of cannabis in assistance of treating mental illness and homelessness amongst our veteran and first responder community. I joined the military almost immediately after high school. I was in the military for a little under 5 years, during which time I deployed twice to Iraq, and I was discharged with a general under honorable conditions for treating my PTSD with cannabis. Most of my issues are essentially combat related. When I got out, it was discovered that I had almost no meniscus left in my right knee. I have a bulged disc in the back of my neck. I have a mild TBI, post-traumatic stress disorder, and severe tendinopathy in my right shoulder. And I've developed what is now up to about 1/8 of an inch gap in my right wrist. When I'm not on anything, my pain is very extreme. I remember physically needing assistance walking down the hallway to the doctor's office. Some points I've completely been bedridden. Some of the challenges I faced returning home, I noticed I started drinking a lot. And then it got to a point to where I didn't really care about much of anything. That turned into a very bad spiral till one day I showed up to work and I didn't remember how I got to work. So that's when I really actively started seeking help. The VA's answer to everything is medication. I was on a lot of prescriptions. I think when I capped out and stopped taking them, I was on 22 or 26 pills a day. I was on various sleep medications. I was on muscle spasmatic medications on top of taking dream suppressant medication, anti-inflammatory medication, pain medication, anxiety medication. All of the while doing this, I was seeing the VA monthly, where they then had to take my blood to ensure that my kidneys weren't shutting down, to ensure that my liver wasn't shutting down and it was processing all the medication appropriately, and the medication then in turn wasn't killing me. All the PTSD medication I was on all had suicide warning labels on them, and dealing in an environment where veteran suicide is a major issue and is one of the leading causes of death amongst the veteran population, it raises a major red flag as to why most of us are taking medications that say that they can cause suicide ideations. And so I started going cannabis as like a substitute, and I started substituting the sleep medication. When I got my VA rating and I packed up and I moved out to Arizona, essentially became a cannabis refugee from Ohio. I walked into my local dispensary. Hey, I'm a disabled veteran. I am legally not allowed to have a job, but I can't afford your product no more. And so they came at me and actually offered me a volunteer job at their farm to grow. And so I learned how much cannabis was I able to use, how much of my medication I was able to stop, what the therapy provided of growing the plant itself. So I was deemed unemployable and not supposed to be able to do what I was doing in the first place. And while doing that, I was able to quit taking all of my pills from the VA and just utilize cannabis to substitute for the pain that I was dealing with. And then I noticed that I could manage my symptoms with less cannabis. The feeling of managing all of these symptoms on my own was pretty empowering. It was through medical cannabis that I actually started interacting with people again. That kind of started me thinking, what could I do to help others? How I ended up back in Ohio, I got a call that my grandmother was dying of colon cancer. I felt I knew enough of the science of cannabis to try and help her. Cannabis was never something talked about, never something brought up, other than it was like bad, drugs were bad, everything's bad. I started teaching her some of the medical things that I learned about different types of products and different ways of administration. Once I got her open to trying it, there was an immediate change, 24-hour change in the way she carried herself, the way she functioned, her ability to actually go out, go shopping, or to clean her house. There were major changes within 24, 48 hours. She actually got to see my son be born and hold my son before she died. That led to my willingness to break out of my shell, start talking about this type of stuff. And so I did my first public speaking event probably about a year after that. And it's been game on ever since for Veterans Ending the Stigma. It's an educational platform on mental illness, homelessness, and the utilization of cannabis as a treatment option, as one of those things in your toolbox that we could use to kind of fix the issues at hand and find ways of pushing through them. Our mantra is really our mission, and our goal and our purpose, and that is healing begins with purpose. These are issues that happen on circumstance, and that through purpose and finding out what your purpose is as a human, you will find yourself healing internally and externally. We try and actually get face to face with the public. That's how we prefer to do things. We found that's the easier way to break down barriers. It's an easier way of connecting veteran with community and community with veteran, and building a sense of empowerment and help guiding as to where that purpose can lie. We provide some handouts here and there, of information, but the best information shared is through stories and through having a conversation. And that's the only way that I feel we're going to end that stigma around what is a combat veteran with PTSD. Is a combat veteran with PTSD just another person out there trying to make it through life and trying to figure out what's going on? You can reach out and connect to our organization through Facebook. We have a Facebook page at Veterans Ending the Stigma. We have a website, veteransendingthestigma.org. Through our website, we try and keep everybody informed the best we can as to what our missions, our goals are. So we are an organization of volunteers. And on our website, you can see our code of conduct. You can see our code of ethics. And so we're trying to be as transparent as possible. Know that all money donated to the organization goes to getting us at events, goes to ensuring that we have a booth set up at events so that we can talk to hundreds of thousands of people face to face. It goes to getting groups of veterans to DC once a year when we try and host an event outside of the White House for veterans to have access to whole plant cannabis, because we're tired of the medications that the VA is doing and how they're trying to constantly stop us from utilizing this medicine. If you are considering cannabis, there are resources out there. Leaf 411 is a great resource, or you can reach out to our nonprofit, and we will try and help walk you through deciding if cannabis is right for you. If you are in a dark place and you are suffering with symptoms of PTSD or depression or anxiety or suicide ideation, your best bet is to reach out to somebody. Sometimes the best help you can get is from a close friend. And secondly, I would say if you're a veteran dealing with these issues, break every day down into a mission, because it's something that we understand. If it was going to the grocery store, my mission was to go to the grocery store. Whether I got anything at that grocery store or not, I made it to the grocery store and then I made it home. The next day my mission might have extended further to where I actually had to get groceries. And that's how I broke down my missions. It was very basic, very simple, very to the point. And as you do that, you become more comfortable in understanding your surroundings. That's the best advice I could give, is break things down into their simplest form and attack them